Welcome to the Gnostic Anarchy Podcast. This is your host, Franklin Ward. What if I did that? What if I used all the languages? What if I started using all the same languages that everybody else uses? That your mind has been trained. Your mind has been trained to accept. Welcome to the Gnostic Anarchy Podcast. This is your host, Franklin Ward. I promise not to say the N-word if... My name is Frank N-word, and I promise not to say the N-word if you don't startle me. I'm listening to not Brian Kilmeade. I was listening to Brian Kilmeade. Gotta be a weird life to live, dude. Growing up with a last name like that. I'm so sorry. I mean, you must have been bullied a lot. I bet the whole clan. What's the whole clan? What's the whole clan? Search.brave.com. Kilmeade surname. No, it's with one L. Kilmeade surname. Where are these people from? Oh, I get an AI response. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's an Irish village. Oh, the surname Kilmeade is of Irish origin, derived from the Gaelic name Zelmid, meaning Church of Maid, associated with the geographical location. Is that Scottish or is that Irish? I don't know the very subtle differences. And now I'm going to start trying the Australian accent. The Aussies are the hillbillies of British accents. Because they're rough and tumble fucking cunts. Ah, you fucking cunt. Why don't you get out of my fucking country, you fucking cunt? See, that's not it. You're not... The subtleties. I'm going to practice one or two of them and get it down. And it might as well be the Irish one, right? I knew an Irish guy once. Time. Worked with him. Worked with an Irish guy who was fucking my boss. True story. Everybody knew it. Nobody talked about the specifics. Nobody revealed any details. But everybody knew it. It was hilarious because he got all the best section. The whole his fucking Irish accent. He got all the best tables. Made all the fucking money. And I even watched once while I was checking out, because I was in near proximity to the best, like I was in the second best section or whatever, closing, and I looked over as I was doing something with the table. I was down low, so I was like cleaning something, and they didn't see me. They didn't know that I was over there, kind of in like by default hiding from them, but not on purpose. And I watched as she was bending over and he pressed himself into her as she was bending over, and it was very, I was like, whoa, that must be some feisty fucking, sorry guys, sorry, I'm not gonna say any names because someone might end up in a fucking divorce, but it was for real. It was for real. For real. He used to have a bunch of different sayings too, but I don't remember any of them. Man, I'm getting old. I want to talk about Western civilization. What a perfect start off. I'm not listening to Brian Kilmeade. He was the last segment. I'm listening to Will Kane. Is it Will Kane Country? Is that what he calls it? And is it a national show that is syndicated and all that shit? Will Kane Country Podcast. It's on American Country Singer. No, is it Will Kane? Oh, there's two? Will Kane Country. Okay, not doing well. Brave AI. I want to be I want to just visit. Wouldn't it be cool if they had like tours for these AI companies? I just want to visit. I just want to go visit the place where the people are doing the stuff. Yeah, it's on Fox News Radio. So it is the Will Kane Show. Thought-provoking long-form interviews with leading figures and live calls from viewers and listeners. So he's on live right now. That is whom I was listening to, and the discussion that he's having is among the most primary and significant conversations for anybody really on Earth, if you break it down properly. If you want to get down into the nitty-gritty, the bullet of time requires that the Western mind be preserved. It is the bleeding edge of human progress. It's Western civilization. Believe it or don't. And if you don't want to use that term, Western civilization, then, I don't know, pick a different word. Because it isn't the word itself that defines the concept. You can call something, a rose by any other name is just as sweet, smells just as sweet. A communist by any other name is still an N word and an F word. I'm doing well. I'm recovering. Clean up. It's clean up. Clean up time. We gotta clean this up. Where's my purple? Poiple. The poiple comes and goes. Poiple. Hey, you fucking poiple. Where's the purple? Where's the purple? Fuck it. It's none of my fucking business. So we're gonna get the robot in here to examine. Get the robot in to examine the concept. If I can go this whole stream if I can go for the next 20 to 30 minutes without saying the N-word, then you owe me $1. And you can put it on I wish I had a Cash App or something. I don't have any of that shit. I don't have anything. You don't owe me $1. You owe me a pat yourself on the back because you are living. You are the product of Western civilization. You are. No, you are. No, you are. Civilization. Or we. Otherwise known as we humans. We humans. Otherwise known as we humans. I'm going to do another one. Or, so the subject is Western civilization, or I am America, and so can you. Also, another way to earn yourself a pat on the back would be to figure out where that reference comes from without Googling it. Just to know it off the top of your head. I'll tell you later. I'll give you a hint. There's a book that sat on my shelf, and I have no idea where all my books went. No idea. Lost everything. In defense of Western civilization, I lost everything. Everything was stolen from me, was taken from me, including my kids. My children were kidnapped. In defense of Western civilization, I had all my material possessions stripped from me, my livelihood taken, my everything. But I'm still standing. It's a psychological warfare, 5th generation warfare. Still standing. Uh-oh, here comes the bomber planes. You'll never get me, copper. Listen to Will Kane. Will Kane Country's good. Claim. I'm gonna start by saying claim. Western civilization is inherently multicultural and pluralistic by definition. Oh, you know what? I might not want to do this. I like 5 better because 5 seems a little bit more sober-minded, whatever that means. Ooh, short answer. False. It's not what you said the other day, GPT-5. What was the thing that GPT-5 said the other day? It was not that long ago. It said polite pluralism. Polite pluralism. Pluralistic. The claim is an oversimplification. Why? And this might be an indication as to who the human minds are inside of these companies, or lizard minds, whatever minds are tippity tip tap tip 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 tap tip 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 tap. Because we don't know. We ought to. Everybody. You know how they say don't throw stones if you live in a glass house? Well, everybody lives in a glass house, and everybody's throwing stones at this point. And can we all just look at each other and open up and actually like make, if we're gonna have glass houses, let's make the houses themselves out, like everywhere you look you see another human, all the humans that you are aware of, according to Dunbar's number. You can know like 250 people. So if you have more than 250 friends on Facebook, either you are superhuman or fill in the blank. What is Dunbar's number? I'm just gonna use the pound sign. Dunbar's number is a theoretical cognitive limit on the number of stable social relationships one person can maintain, often cited as about 150. Hey, that's how many Facebook friends I have. It was proposed by British anthropologist Robin Dunbar, based on correlations between primate brain, neocortex size, and typical social group size. Key points. The typical estimate, 150 meaningful relationships. Definition of stable relationship: regular, face-to-face or emotionally meaningful ties where individuals know each other and maintain reciprocal social obligations. There it is. Sorry, Facebook friends. This is actually really important, because if you were to regard my, because I don't actually live under a rock, I live in a homeless shelter, and I variably establish verbal correspondence between certain people, between myself and certain people, and prior to being wrecked, R-E-K-T, wrecked by the CIA, and William Joseph Prettyman, he was one of if I had to count 2020 and prior, it would have been most of the staff. So there's like 70. At Merchants, I think. That Greek was like 40 or 50. 40-ish. And then other people that I used to know. Other people that I used to know. What am I doing? Oh, Dunbar's number. Okay, what am I doing? Dunbar's number. I don't know where that came from. Going back. Okay, why does ChatGPT-5 think, contrary to its claim previously about polite pluralism, why is it telling me that the idea of Western civilization being inherently multicultural and pluralistic is false? By definition is wrong, because definitions depend on which meaning of Western civilization you use. Okay, good point. Some definitions emphasize shared roots. Greco-Roman law, Judeo-Christian morality, Enlightenment liberalism, and common institutions. Others emphasize historical openness to external influences. Neither meaning logically entails that Western civilization is inherently multicultural and pluralistic in every period or interpretation. Great clarification. Key points. So, and this is important, this language model stuff. Language is the most important. And Western civilization being the most important civilization in human history, English being the primary spoken language within Western civilization, is probably the most important language in human history so far. So the clarification for me on that would have been, or should have been, right now, Western civilization in 2025, like for the past 100 years or so. Historical record. Western societies have alternated between openness and exclusion. For example, periods of religious toleration and of religious intolerance, eras of immigration and eras of xenophobic restriction, colonial empires that suppressed local cultures, etc. That mixed history shows multiculturalism/pluralism are contingent outcomes, not definitional necessities. They are contingent. Okay. So you haven't completely argued that my whole statement is completely false. But the GPT, G, I call him G, my friend G, has gotten into the details, is getting down into the murky minutia details, the nuances of the statement itself, which is fantastic. Okay, conceptual distinction. Quote, multicultural and, quote, pluralistic describe social conditions or policies such as diversity, legal equality, rights for minorities. A civilizational label names a complex of institutions, ideas, and practices. It can include elements that support pluralism, but also elements that resist it. Interesting. So supports of pluralism, the examples it gives are rule of law, secularism, and liberal rights. But elements that resist pluralism are ethno-nationalism and imperial hierarchy. So this is presently. So ethno-nationalism. And this is all this is important. It's fucking important. You certainly can't say white culture. You can't say white culture. Why? Because Jews aren't white. Sorry. Italians aren't white. There's a lot of non-white Western civilization that could be rightfully like the Anglosphere and the Swedosphere and the Franks. There's a cultural something that is prescient. Am I using that word correctly? That pervades. Now I gotta do another. I'm sorry. I've got to prescience, because I actually try to use that word and I always feel like I'm fucking it up, so I stop using it. Although it's a prescient. Prescience sounds like prescient, like mind having or showing knowledge of events before they take place. Okay, so that is not her prescient warning. Okay, no. Prescient, prescient, that makes sense. Conscient, prescience. Western civilization has been Western civilization is a Western civilization is the prescient mold for human brotherhood, for total human brotherhood. Or something. Total, like, because I mean, it is. It's not that, the problem isn't that other cultures need to become like the Irish, or like the fucking stupid, posh fucking, regal fucking queers in the fucking, the lizard people of the royal blah blah blah. A spot of tea, will you? It's not that Muslims need to put on their shoes and fucking their gown and step up. That's not. And anybody who says that is probably a podunk tweaker living in squalor in the middle of fucking Missouri, and it has no fucking idea that white supremacist ethno-nationalist bullshit. No fucking idea. No sophistication whatsoever as to the reality of planet Earth and white ethno-nationalism period based on race. It's so fucking stupid, but there are elements of it that's true. Let's keep going. Internal variation. Okay, so different Western polities and eras manifested very different degrees of pluralism. For example, Enlightenment era religious toleration in some states versus inquisitions. That's true. The multicultural empires of the Habsburgs and Ottoman borderlands versus the assimilationist nation states of the 19th and 20th centuries. Assimilation. Normative versus descriptive. If the claim is normative, Western civilization should be multicultural. It's an argument, not a definitional truth. If descriptive, it must be qualified historically and conceptually. That is, I feel like I'm really like I'm back in the fucking group, reading a fucking screed of a post that somebody spent 20 minutes posting. Because that's how it was on the Facebook groups. You would see that something, like you would post something, you would spend all your time like, thinky, typey, thinky, typey, research, Wikipedia, look at this article, here's a link, blah, blah, blah. Thinky, typey. And then 20 minutes later, you'd be done with it. You'd fucking send it in the group. And this was true for everybody. This is something we all participated in. Cats, guys. Jason, my best bud. Fucking haven't seen him in a while. Jason Crow. Fucking Josh Schroeder. I don't know if he was in there, and I don't remember. Jacob Black. Eugene Curry. Some kind of spice. Maxwell. People in real life, like, they came to the Mad Greek. There's a conversation with me at the Mad Greek. I want that footage. By golly, so I can feel the cringe. Maxwell Shockley. And his bud. All these people, the atheist guys, the ones who were unfortunately raised religious and became atheists as a consequence, which is, in many cases, what you get when you fuck it up. If your religious parents were ill prepared for the 20th, the latter 20th century and the beginning of the 21st, which, let's be honest, everybody was blindsided by this internet shit. Everybody. Besides the lizard people, probably. I haven't the faintest fucking clue. It's an argument. You are correct. The claim that I'm making is an argument. And it must be qualified. Historically and conceptually. I think, concise conclusion, Western civilization contains strong intellectual and institutional resources that can support multiculturalism and pluralism, but it is not inherently or definitorily multicultural or pluralistic. Those are historically contingent outcomes, not tautologies. What? Kudos. True. I agree with your response. I agree with your response and your man. I might not have a fucking enough caffeine for this. Your response and your nuanced clarification of the terms. I would like to argue that my original claim. I would like to argue my original claim. I would like to argue my original claim as not as normative or descriptive, but as an indication of the potentiality. As an indication of the potentiality. Western civilization possesses. Presently in 2025. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on more recent histories, such as those movements fought and won throughout the 20th century, What are your thoughts on more recent history, such as those movements which were fought and won throughout the 20th century, throughout the 20th century? And because I don't want to use codified, what is presently codified, because and the underpinnings, the ideas which undergird the codification of pluralism we now exercise and experience, I think. Because before I read this, which is going to be so fast, God, that is so ridiculous. And look at how much it's making. It's still going, still going, still going. Oh my God. These things. I'm going to read it all because this is a great conversation. It's very important. And it's one that Will Kane is having with humans right now on the radio. But I'm having it with a robot. By the way, Iamamerica and so can you. Let's see if GPT-5 knows the reference. I am America, and so can you. It's a book, bro. By whom? Stephen Colbert. The phrase, I am America, in quotes, and so can you, is a book by Stephen Colbert published in 2007. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for responding with an instinct towards being offended before looking for the factual, before referencing something factual. So what just happened there? Without referencing something factual, it responded with, I can't join or impersonate a country or political identity. I can, however, help with information or creative tasks about the United States, history, policy, summaries, slogans, speeches, travel guidance, curriculum, or writing in patriotic voice. What would you like? I can't join or impersonate a country or political identity. That's a bizarre, and it's on record now, GPT-5. That is a very bizarre anomaly. And it suggests that based on the fact that I'm having a conversation in another tab about Western civilization, and it's capable of elocuting profound ideas that relate to the significance of Western civilization, but it somehow got emotional. My suspicion would be that somebody at OpenAI, this is my conspiracy mind, I know I'm a conspiracy-minded person, but how else do you explain that? Because the text itself, the text is, I am America, and so can you. That is the only token that was given. And if you punch that into, let's go further, because GPT-5 and OpenAI and somebody in there should be fired over this. I'm not fucking kidding you. Somebody, whoever's tippity-tapping with their ideological fucking possessions right now, live, should be fired and publicly humiliated. Shame. Because what happens if I What happens if I search? I didn't fucking... And why do you hate so much? Why are you people so full of hate? I am America, and so can... The first... I didn't even finish typing the query. And it pulls up the book by Stephen Colbert. So tell me what the fuck happened here. That its preference was towards becoming politically correct and offended like a bitchy, whiny little fucking liberal who's in the background fucking with my queries. I swear to God. What the fuck happened there? Somebody needs to explain it. And explain it like I'm vaccinated. Why is this fucking robot suddenly getting emotional when we are in fact having a profound, logical, real, important conversation simultaneously? I'm gonna finish reading this. Okay, let's see, because if fuckface McGee or whatever the fucking emotional bullshit is happening in the background, it could just be a fluke, could be a hallucination, whatever Sam Altman wants to say, because he's not as smart as the robots he's building, and therefore should shut the F up. Sorry, I'm getting... I gotta fix my hat. If a short thesis of it's not so bad. Okay, I'm gonna read it all and then I'm gonna fucking shut the F up. So, quick review. I said claim, Western civilization is inherently multicultural and pluralistic by definition. The response that the robot gave was very sophisticated, very on point, linguistically sound, nuanced, and in summary, responded with the idea that in order to make the claim that Western civilization is inherently multicultural or pluralistic, you have to be more refined in how you're making the claim. Excellent response. So I said, I agree with your response and your nuanced clarification of the terms. I would like to argue my original claim not as normative or descriptive, but as an indication of the potentiality Western civilization possesses presently in 2025. What are your thoughts on more recent histories, such as those movements fought and won throughout the 20th century, and the ideas which undergird the codifications of pluralism, which we now exercise and experience? In English, that was a little more complicated. In English, I agree with what you said. I would like to say it again, not in the context you're asking, but I want to say it again as the current conditions have the potential for being inherent, have the potential for establishing the more profound pluralistic thing. And what are your thoughts on the civil rights movement? Third wave, first, second, third, fourth, third. Let's stop at third wave feminism. Should not have gone any further than third. Sorry, 3 is a great number to stop at. Third wave feminism, civil rights, First Amendment rights, throughout. I mean, even with Howard Stern and the pornography stuff with the guy, the People versus Larry Flint, that whole fucking thing. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. It's unfortunate, but it has to be that way. Now, you can, like the fact of pornography. And the fact of pornography, I never finished that thought the other day when I had it. The fact of pornography might be a throughput. That's not intentional. That's not intentional. I'm looking at my camera. Pornography might be a way to finger our way through the whole, okay? It might be the way to get people to stop, generally, for all people to stop focusing so much on fucking each other. That might be the benefit. That might be the baby in the bathwater. That might be the silver lining to the thundercloud. Is that pornography is here to help. And I'm not saying everybody should be like 60 RPM, 65K RPM constantly in front of their screens. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that the amount of effort, the amount of time, the amount of wasted energy, and especially of the elites, raping and killing kids, the amount of all that energy, the wastefulness of that energy, might be resolved by pornography. And I'm not, that's full stop. Like, I'm gonna stop right there, because I'm not even saying, I don't want to indicate that I don't. There's got to be. Didn't they come up with? What was? I saw something the other day. There was either today, yesterday, or another day. Was there news about a porn AI? Searching the web, searching the web, searching the web, searching the web. Yes, there's been ongoing news about AI-generated pornography, often called deepfake, but no. Recent coverage for the past 2 years highlights rising prevalence. Past 7 days, yes. If you want, I can pull the latest headlines from news sources. Yes, past 7 days. Yes, past 7 days. Because if that, you know what I'm saying? Reports that OpenAI / Mr. G will allow adult explicit content in December, prompting debate about safety and platform policy. A DOE employee, Department of who? Energy? Lost security clearance after uploading 187,000, what the fuck? 187,000 pornographic images to a government network intending to train an AI image generator. What the fuck? Colorado court rulings. Oh, while I'm at it, Colorado court rulings reporting around whether pre-2025 law covered AI-generated child sexual content with local coverage of related appeals and legal interpretation. See, that's what I was trying to avoid. That I'm an asexual. I don't even want to. I can't touch it. But what I do want is for all humans to stop being so sexual. And I'm saying this as a person who who has ejaculated as a 39-year-old man who has the last over the course of at least 10 to 12 weeks has ejaculated one time. And if you extend it to like 18 weeks, twice. Say it's 4 or 5 months. It's just not in my system. It just doesn't. And it might be a side effect of SNRI medications. Whatever the fucking case is, I am happy about it. I do not give a fuck about rubbing my genitalia for the benefit of whatever. And maybe it's also because I have plenty of memories about ecstatic experiences throughout my life otherwise. But there are things that are better, actually experiences that are better than sex. And shut the fuck up. We're talking about Western civilization, but this is the ability to be honest about human sexuality, which is probably arguably the primary, like, it's right there next to the most important, like most significant or profound or foundational things, sexuality in human existence, because it's the source of how we fucking come into existence. It's how we get here, all of us. And so it is important, and being honest about what it is and how it works, instead of being fucking weird about it, is also important. But also being weird about it publicly is also weird. So there's two ways about it. Like, the Puritans not being honest about how sex works and what it is are fucking weirdos. And the Pride Fest fucking Sex in the Street but chaps, leather chaps, rainbow flag freaks are also being fucking weird about it. So where's the middle ground on that? That's the question. Not for me, it's for you, because for all of us, really. It's like those are both extremes, and you could argue that they're left and right extremes. And where's the middle ground? Sorry, I gotta do this one other thing. What is the news today about? Because seems like it's fucked. About Bitcoin seizure today. This sounds fucked. It sounds like powermongers and banksters stepping over a boundary, from what I know. The DOJ announced a historic seizure and forfeiture complaint against roughly $14 to $15 billion worth of Bitcoin, 127,000 Bitcoin. What percentage of total Bitcoin is 127,000? What percentage of Bitcoin is 127, like of all of it, out of all of it? They're 0.6%. 21 million. So it's less than 1%, but it's 0.5% of all of it in history. But how much out of currently mined. $19.7 million has been mined. So they've only got a couple million left. Okay. So they took a half of a percentage of the total Bitcoin. The DOJ allegedly seized. How the fuck? Tied to the Prince Group transnational criminal organization and its founder. Authorities say the group ran large pig butchering investment scams. So people were allegedly giving forced labor compounds and money laundering. The DOJ unsealed an indictment charging wire fraud and money laundering conspiracies and filed the civil forfeiture action. Partners also sanctioned. How do you get it? No. How did the DOJ come to, quote, possess the Bitcoin? Allegedly. Prosecutors say those Bitcoin were held in unhosted wallets. Unhosted wallets for which the defendant possessed the private keys, and U.S. law enforcement obtained control of the keys and transferred the coins into U.S. custody. How did they obtain the keys? How did obtain the private keys to the relevant wallets? So, what did they torture him, or did he freely give them up? How did they get the keys exactly? Torture or free will? Because what? They say law enforcement obtained control of the private keys that allowed them to move the Bitcoin, but do not describe coercive methods like torture. Concrete, not speculative. Investigators traced the wallets to the defendants. I doubt it. I smell bullshit. I'm not, don't believe it, guys. I'm not going for it. I think this is fear-mongering. And someone should do more actual research. I wonder if we can get some independent research on this, because this is huge news for Bitcoin. Huge. Because of what it says about Bitcoin, if this is true. I don't think it's true. I think that based on what I know about Bitcoin, it's highly unlikely that it's true, and that Bitcoin it's a psyop. You're telling me that the retarded FBI agents who can't hack my computer managed to trace the wallets to the defendants using blockchain forensics and corroborating evidence? Expound upon. I didn't mean to do this. Expound upon blockchain forensics and corroborating evidence. Transaction graph analysis. And analysts map blockchain transactions. Yes, we all do. It's public. To trace flow of funds across addresses And cluster address is like controlled using guesswork, heuristics. Was there geolocation on the fucking IP addresses? So they weren't using like VPNs or proxies? Address clustering algorithms behave like they belong to one wallet. It was guesswork. More guesswork. Not hard evidence. Even when funds move through multiple hops, analysts follow origin to destination. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm closing this tab because I think it's a psyop, and I think fuck the DOJ anyway. Fucking. Now I'm gonna say it. Yes. By 2025, Western civilization contains broad, historically grounded potentialities for multiculturalism and pluralism. 20th century social movements, legal codifications, institutional reforms, and intellectual shifts have created durable infrastructures that make pluralism a realistic and resilient possibility rather than a fragile anomaly. Key developments that created this potential 20th century to the present: universal human rights framework, the UN Charter in 1945, the UDHR in 1948, which nobody fucking talks about anymore. It pisses me off. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's like the fucking Bill of Rights for the world. You're saying, and it includes free speech. Like, what the fuck? How many signatories of the UDHR are jailing people for Twitter posts? And who the fuck is not asking that fucking question? Decolonization and self-determination. Mass end of empires from 1940s to 1970s. Dispersed power. Civil rights and anti-discrimination movements. I said that already because I'm cool. Women's and alphabet movements, suffrage, reproductive rights, blah blah blah. We could do a little less of that, just to accommodate the Muslims. Immigration and transnational migration, large-scale sustained migration. We can do a little less of that probably, because of it's the ideas again, the undergird welfare state and social rights expansion. See, this is where we're getting into gray areas, because it involves the concept. All of this goes into concepts of nations and geographical areas, and it ought to be the case. I don't think, because personally, you wouldn't find me dead. Okay, I would have to be dead in a gay pride parade. The whole fucking idea disgusts me in my fucking bosom, in my asshole. The whole idea of just celebrating sex, celebrating secreting juice out of your organs in public for a month is just batshit fucking unsophisticated bullshit to me. But I don't think that the whole of humanity ought to be deprived of the desire, their willingness to do that. And so, because it's like that, oh man, I want to go back to it. Ooh, I'm going to find it. That's how I'll end this, because I need to get off of here. It was, it was Tucker, believe it or not, Tucker Carlson, who said, it was the way he said it. So I'm going to look it up. It wasn't just what he said, but how he said it. I am America and so can you. And then translate it to Mandarin. I am America and so can you. Oh, I am America and so can you. America. Oh yeah, National Tucker, National Conservatism. I can't remember where it is though. Speech about gays. Let's see if YouTube can do it. National Conservatism Conference. That's it. Big business hates your family. That's the one. But it's there's a specific point where he says shortwave communicate. He says, and he made it. He did this in a few different speeches where he's like, is it even going to work?
And Trump said in one of his morning of the line, I can't remember who first uttered it. Someone far less impressive than you would imagine, but it's so true. It's never left my mind. In the end, all graves go unvisited. I think that a lot. Just trying to keep things in perspective. Excuse me. I've been in rural Maine for 6 weeks. During which time I decided to quit using nicotine after 36 years of avid use. So the combination been in this job, the same kind of job for like 20 years, where you're debating the other side. It's already hate me. It's requited, trust me. But information in English flows through a choke point. No, I'm not. And it has a name, something like, it's a very literal name. It's like Antitrust Think Tank. And if you go through their list of donors, yeah, Google's on there. So that doesn't seem to.
It's a good speech all around, but I'm getting to the gay part.
Loch Ness Monster is real. What about the Yeti? I'm serious. Weirdly, the Trump election, you really accumulate all kinds of ideas, most of which aren't actually ideas, they're just ticks. And you don't realize that you have them. And Trump really, and it wasn't, of course, just me, but it was a lot of people, almost all of them were in this room, actually, who went up there and they're like, is it still true? And so what I encourage myself to do every single day, this is one thing I am faithful about, is that I really encourage myself to just try to look clearly, like what is actually happening. I mean, the forces of lying have definitely increased. They've gotten louder anyway. It's like everyone's lying. It's all propaganda. It can't be fixed. It can't be changed.
You're talking about race.
No, I'm serious. It's not even that interesting. It's not interesting to me anyway. It's not the America that I grew up in. I'm not being self-righteous about it. I'm not saying I'm above nothing. Trust me. One of the things you realize as you age.
I'll find it. Stop being distracted.
Keep that in mind.
Ooh,
And then I guess the last point I would make,
that might have been that.
race, are the ones who are denouncing everyone else as racist. And then you realize it's not amazing, because it's true of literally everything they say. Because it's not actually a matter of trying to convince you of their program. It really is a very specific and recognizable psychological syndrome. Right? I remember the day that Bill Kristol, of all people, called me a racist. And I was like, really? Bill Kristol? Oh, of course.
No, there's got to be it.
It means to be conservative or nationalist. I don't even know. I've lost track. But whatever they're for, I'm against that. That's kind of how I'm thinking. It's not progress. I mean, that's like a complete lie. Anyone know what the Bronze Age collapse was? Yeah, okay, so the one person. So the Bronze Age collapse was, there was a dark age before. There's nothing inherently bad about rapid demographic change. And I'm not, or immoral, I'm not saying that. Is that true in your marriage? I'm serious. Is it? And I'm sure, I know there are a bunch of reporters here, and screw you, just ahead of time. But I know they're going to be like, oh, Carlson comes out against diversity. I'm not coming out against diversity at all. I like diversity, actually. Just don't lie to me about it. Just don't lie, just stop lying. How's that? And why don't you explain how it works? If you're going to make it our national motto, don't you... You ate those cookies. There were 10 cookies and they're gone and you ate them. And your kid will be like, oh, I only had 3.
I'm going to find it.
Control 99%, this is an estimation, 99% of silicon.
On the sincere, I shouldn't call it the wacko left, the sincere old-fashioned left. And I definitely don't agree with, I'm a social conservative, just for the record. The only pro-life Episcopalian in the world other than my wife. But I really mean it. I sincerely mean it. I'm not kidding at all. There's obviously no upside to being a social conservative. Why would you pretend that? Better than they did. I mean, nothing grand. And they're kind of decent bourgeois people. The overwhelming majorities. I hate that stuff. It's completely a dead end. It's a distraction designed to get the rest of it out. It's about economics. Why are they so in love with abortion? Same thing. It's about economics. And we can argue about how, and we should argue about how, but she's making the case that we ought to be working toward a society in which a parent can stay home to raise the kids. Not forever. If you have kids, you know it's what is it, 6 years? I mean, it depends how many kids you have, but it's not a lifetime. The point is, most people want that. Of UFOs, we've done a consistent series. No, I'm serious.
No,
especially true in the press corps, and they think of themselves as really sort of the cutting edge. I'm radical, and that's why if you think something you're not allowed to think, I'll punch it. Are a kind of variety of that. You're like, you traipse up to the mental attic and see what's the story. Junk up there. Which aren't actually. Trump really, and it wasn't. Like, what is actually happening? You've been told they're good guys? The second observation I would make is that, and I'll be short with this, but it's another one of my obsessions, is that it's all a kind of Freudian projection. Like, whatever they say you're doing is precisely what they're doing. And again, because I'm not a super genius, it took a long time to figure this out. And I really think Antifa was maybe the moment where I figured it out. It's the guys who are literally armed with steel bars and have black masks on are calling other people fascist. And I'm like, so of course you go immediately to the cliche, that's Orwellian. No, actually it's Freudian. It really is. The things I fear about myself, I transfer onto you. And once you understand that, it really is the Rosetta Stone for their behavior, amazingly. It's true for virtually everything. And if you're me, specifically me, the most bewildering of all is you're a racist. You're a racist, which is like, I wake up, I open my door to get the paper. You're a racist. And I get opposite. It's race consciousness. It can be changed. Not interesting to me anyway. I'm above enough. You really are. Mostly boys, the root of all wisdom is no. It's amazing that the people who are so
where is it?
Psychological syndrome. So just keep that in mind. But from where I really am liberal. I am. It would never occur to me to choose my friends by their political beliefs. It would just never occur to me, ever. Nor would it ever occur to me to try to control someone. As much as I despise libertarians, and I really, really do, I mean that. I also, in other people doing their weird thing, go crazy. It's just how I feel. I probably shouldn't feel that.
Okay. This is, Jesus Christ. That took a long time. Oh my God. It took a very long time. But it's all good. He's talking about the purpose of this is to say that just because I don't care for people wanting to celebrate the fact that they stick their dicks in each other's asses shamelessly in public, just because it's not me, it's not my thing, I also don't want to be, and I don't want to be nearer. I don't want to open, if I had a house, open my door or go to work and have to step over the puddle of cum from the parade the day before or the night before or whatever. So and that is 100% a legitimate grievance. That is 100% legitimate. I don't want my children to see it. Unfortunately, I tried to marry the wrong person. Hopefully they'll grow out of it. Jesus. But I don't, it's just a personal thing. That doesn't mean that all over the physical substrate of Earth, as the world turns, that it ought not to be the case anywhere. And so he's, I think, making that point here.
Feel that way, but I do. They don't feel that way. They don't. So if you were, and someday I'm going to do this if I have time, it'd be interesting to go down to the most remote county in Alabama and interview just a cross-section of people at the Hardee's, just 25 people, and ask them what they think of the personal sexual practices of the residents of Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And B, how often they think of it. How much of your disk space does this occupy? How many hours a week, estimated, do you spend seething about what they're doing in the sack? 1,500 miles from here. And I'm pretty sure you would find right around 0 people would even understand the question. It just wouldn't compute. Brooklyn? Huh? I don't know. Probably something weird, right? Yep, something weird, for sure. All right. That's in New York City, right? Yeah, well, there you go. Would you like to pass a law to prevent them from doing that weird stuff? Huh? Who are you, anyway? No. And I mean all of them elders at the local Antioch Baptist Church. I mean, evangelicals, 100%. And they would tell you, no. And then, of course, you know the second half. go to Williamsburg. And what do you think of the people of, Dothan County, Alabama? You know that over 50% of them are against gay marriage? What? I was just thinking about that this morning. We should kill them. They lay awake at night thinking that somewhere in this country there is somebody who's not fully on board with the program. And by on board with the program, I don't just mean is disobeying. I don't mean a county clerk is refusing to sign a marriage certificate. That's a real argument. I get it, no matter what side you're on. No. They mean someone who, in his heart, secretly is traipsing down to the basement after dinner and communicating by shortwave with someone else who disagrees. And that's unacceptable. And we're going to root that person out, and we're going to fix that person. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to re-educate that person. Yes.
Excellent. That's just so good. I'm sorry I'm such a Tucker fan, but I'm also a fan of other things like Louis C.K. So, how do you fucking parse that with anything? How? You fucking figure it out. Figure out how Western civilization produced somebody who very much appreciates what Tucker Carlson has to say at the National Conservative Conference and is thoroughly entertained by it, who also knows for a fact that Louis C.K.'s joke about permitting abortion universally, abortion universally ought to be, it's a joke, can be summarized as it's okay to get an abortion, but you have to eat it. The thought, the absurdity of the thought is hilarious to me. Especially if you think about the turkey baster the day after, like a morning after, or 4 weeks after, or whatever. The turkey baster and the mucousy content in the turkey baster being splattered into a frying pan. The mucousy substance of the abortion and all of the proteins within the abortion, along with whatever remnants of sperm and sperm contents inside the turkey baster, take it to the kitchen and in a hot cast iron skillet, a dab of olive oil and a thin sliver of butter melted, and then squeeze the mucousy content into the skillet. As a crust forms instantly as it sizzles in the fat, forming a golden crust like the perfect sunny side up egg. It's the solution for the problem of abortion, the question of abortion. That's it. And that's it.
You have